Alright, time to do some reasonably simple volumes. Look, just have your boundaries ready to go. If you're using boundaries for your quantities, be aware of what it is exactly you're trying to quantify. Quantities are money in the scheme of things in civil construction, so you don't want to be skimping out, and also don't want to be giving them way too much and having the client come back and question your quantity. So in this case, we've got this section of road here we want to quantify, and I've actually got two quantities to run. So I've got this boundary that's been surveyed in the white, and that is the profiled area here. You can sort of see that's roughly from lip of curb. That's going to be what they took off down to a certain control level. And then I've made this other boundary, which is where we need to make sure we're quantifying and giving maximum quantity. And that is a boundary which is 300 behind existing back of curb, and that is for the excavation underneath of the profiling. So, like I said, make sure you get your boundaries right and that you're across what the quantity's got to be. Also be aware whether you're going back into grassed areas or areas that have got a stripped surface. You've got to make sure you've got a stripped surface tin set up. In this instance, we're running 100mm strip surface on all the verges and no strip surface on the road, to just be aware of your comparison surface. Yeah, so we're essentially going to run existing surface versus design FSL minus the set depth. In this case, it is 215, which I'm just going to check and see if I have a tin of. 215. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly translate a tin to 215 below, and then use that for our quantity. So we just go tin utilities translate. I'm going to pick that old tin, which find the mess. There is a lot. There we go. I know it's that one. And we're just going to go pavement 215 below FL. Hit enter. And I'll automatically prefix with the tin, as we've seen in other videos. Choose a colour, it really doesn't matter, that's just personal preference. I'm going to translate the tin, which means shift the tin. We don't want to shift it horizontally, so no delta X, no delta Y, just 0, 0. And then we're going to go minus, so you need minus to go down in this instance, 0.215. Hit process, and it is done. Okay, so now I've got that 215 below surface, which we're going to need for two of these volumes, and then we can run our quantity. So to begin with, I'm just going to run a simple quantity without generating any sort of solids or fills or anything like that. So there's a lot of ways to do volumes in 12B, very powerful, but generally speaking, you're just going to go to volumes, exact, and you're going to go tin to tin, surface to surface. Alright, so in this instance, I'm just using natural surface. So recently imported that, yep, survey NS, so that's our natural surface, right? And our, sorry, let me just clarify, original tin is always your starting surface. Alright, so it's where you started when you first began the works. So we started at natural surface and we profiled to 215 below. Alright, okay. All of this information, if you're not generating solids and faces for plans and drafting or range files or keys or whatever, this particular component, just leave it blank. You don't need to do anything there. You can run different types. HTML report's probably nicer than the custom legacy report, but still just keep going legacy. So if you had no polygons to use, or you're just doing a surface-to-surface comparison, you don't need polygons, you would just give it a report. In this case, I'm going to go again for reports, whatever your personal preferences. I always put mine as claims if they're claims in the month. And then I'm going to go just a brief description. So that's going to be tile to intersection west, enter, and then I'm going to select my first boundary. So that's going to be the white boundary, which is because that is for the profiling, right? And we've got our quantity and volume. Okay, spits out its ugly normal report. Right, plan area is pretty irrelevant really. Total cut, total fill. So that fill would have been corrector, but it's not what we're after anyway. But total cut, right, 497.282. That's it. That's as complex as it is to do a quantity in 12D. And then we would run our second quantity, which now is excavation, and we need to get from 215. So that's our now starting surface. And then we got to get down to 515 because that was our subgrade, right? Okay. All right. Now we're using our green boundary because that's bigger because they're excavated further, so they can install the curb. And volume, I think that's right. Yep. I'm just gonna. You could do another report here if you wanted to. I'm just gonna put both numbers in the same report. Good. And we've got our second quantity. So 661.902, and that's it. That's as difficult as quantities are in 12D to run. You could solid hatch this. Some tool here called CAD fill. You can solid hatch that, which we might for this instance, just as an example. Right, that's a closed polygon. Pick your color. I'm going to go with green this time, and this is your transparency. So if you put 0.5, it'll be 50% transparency, 0.1 will be 10% transparency, 1 is 100% transparency, and I go with about 60%. You can still just see through it, and there you go. It's nice solid. Put some text there with your quantities, do a simple plot, and you would have your quantity for your client or for your claim. Now, what we can do now is, I might as well continue, is looking at range files and painting, or they call it painting, but essentially plotting out solids and colours for your cut fill ranges. So a range file, I've already got a few made. We'll make one from scratch because if you're in a new 12D project and you're not working off old ones, you'll have to create one. So in this instance, I'll do a simple cut to fill one. Okay. Alright. It says it doesn't exist because it doesn't exist. Alright, but give it a name. It'll give it the DRF, which is depth range file. DRF extension, and then click on your little browse and go open, and you'll be greeted with your depth range file attributes. So from and to. So first we're going to create a cut. So we want to go from negative 9,999 meters, so it doesn't miss anything possibly at all. That's why that number is so ridiculous. If you wanted to go from 5 meters to 0, that means it would generate any cut from excavation of 5 meters to 0, okay, and whatever color you select. So but we want everything that is cut, everything, because we're not doing a detailed range here. We just want everything that is cut. So 999 meters or 9,999 meters, just something ridiculous that's going to capture that, right? So all the way up to 0, and then that is everything that is excavation, right? Right click on your colors, and you can pick a color. I usually like using darker colors as opposed to brighter colors. So I'm just going to use dark red. Okay, now we've done that. Now we're going to go from 0, because we're starting there, up to 9,999 positive. And that's going to give us everything that is fill above 0, from 0 to 9,999 meters. That is fill. Right. So again, right click on color, find your color that you like. I usually prefer these blues personally. They plot a little bit better. And then you hit right. So make sure you hit right. If you don't hit right and just hit finish, it will not save what you've just done. Okay, finish. Alright, now, so you've got a depth range file, which still doesn't mean a lot. I always leave plan to paint off. Just, I don't need it turning it on straight away for me. I'll turn that on myself when I'm ready to look at it. So model would be whatever your modeling layering that you like for your drafting or your plotting or however you're setting up your models, but essentially you're just creating the layer where these faces are solidly going to go for the quantity, right? So we're going to go plot September excavation west. You can just keep typing if you want to section, whatever makes sense to you. Or if you're using numbers, nothing more than example, personal preference, or whatever your company is using. So already go polygon selected, and just so you know, so cleaning wipes everything off of a model. So if you had to rerun this quantity because say you selected the wrong boundary, you can check this clean before faces model, and this cleaning actually comes up as an option quite often in dialog boxes on 12D. But if you check that box and then rerun the volume, it will delete everything off this model, clean it, before redoing it and reapplying it. So just be aware when you clean, you're essentially deleting. So if you had faces and text and then hit clean, you're going to go back to that model and everything's going to be gone and you're just going to have your new faces. So just be wary of using the clean function. Well, that's it. So we can hit volume now. As always, you can append or replace reports, and I'm just appending because it's just an example. You'll see that the quantities come out the same. If they do, everything is cut. So 661.902. Okay. You'll notice the reports come out a little bit different. Bring that across. So your standard report from 12D will look like that. And it does a more complex report when you start using depths because it gives you all your different increments and a more detailed breakdown of how those look. So if you did a really detailed depth range, you would get all the different quantities within the different ranges in this tabulation, plus you get the overall summary, okay? Depends what you need, who you're giving it to. Yeah, so now let's have a look at that. So I'm going to go this job is inundated with models to intersections. So there's that model we created, and there's those faces. It's all cut, so it's all red. But yeah, that is the solid. Okay. If there was fill, you would see the blue, and that's how you get your solids up. So you can, we can go and open that. So we're just doing cut to fill, and we can mess with that now. So let's say we needed something a little bit more detailed as an example. Let's say we're only wanting to show cut. So say there was fill and cut, but we only want to show what the cut is. We can just not show the fill. So don't do that row. Delete that. Okay. And then let's say we wanted to start quantifying from 1 meter, right? So you go 999 up to -1 meter. Let's do some half-meter increments quickly before the video time runs out. So minus 1.0 to minus 0.750, minus 0.705, minus 0.5, minus 0.5 to minus 0.25, minus 0.25 to 0. So you'll see everything is going from 2, from 2, from 2, from 2 till you work your way to 0, right? And then I'm about to run out of recording time. I just want to show you this quickly. I'm going to go right, always hit right, place, finish. I'm going to clean, and that will wipe that model clean, and hit volume. I'm going to go append again. And so everything must fall in that green depth, which was unexpected. But that key would essentially normally give you something 0.25 to minus 1, right, place, the color, right, yellow, yeah, and that's time. So